I was gonna say something stupid, but you know what? It's the TeamRedEye shit show. That's what we're doing today. I was gonna do some stupid intro, but I couldn't think of anything else clever, and I already used the other one I was gonna use today on the one that I recorded before, but isn't gonna be up right now. And I'm just rambling on, but these are the two boyos I got with me. Rabid Waffles.
Hola. Words.
And then we got Anthony the Mankini Bankieri.
Sup?
No,
what's up, everybody in YouTube land?
Yeah, what's everybody in YouTube land? Wasn't that like the first line you ever said on my channel?
What's up, everybody in YouTube land? It's Anthony Van Carey.
Coming at you live with another episode. Let's actually talk about the topic. So, in today's shit show, we're going to talk about Halloween.
You have to wait.
I don't care about the American Pie quote you're trying to make.
No one's ever cared.
This one time at bad camp, I stuck a flute up my pussy.
Okay, you happy now? You got the fucking reference in. Now let's actually talk about the topic. Okay, so we're talking about Halloween memories and traditions. Well, I was talking about this actually just earlier today, so it's probably one of my favorite memories of both Halloween and birthday stuff, even though my birthday is nowhere near Halloween. You see, there was one year where we had my birthday party in October, and my birthday's not in October, but we waited till October to do it. And we went up to this resort that my parents had a timeshare at the time. And it was a kick-ass resort. We invited a bunch of people, and we had a big old sleepover up there with, like, we had a bunch of, like, kick-ass candy, too. We had, like, candy blood bags. And we had,
It was mine and your...
Yeah, it was mine and Kyler's birthday party we were celebrating. And Trevor's, actually, too, if I'm not mistaken. But we went up there and we had pizza, and we watched Mr. Meaty. We watched the Halloween special of Mr. Meaty, because it was airing on the TV at the time. And,
all of time.
Still one of my favorite memories of all time, just in general.
Mr. Meaty, I remember that.
Yeah, it's a good show.
I love Mr. Meaty.
All God's creatures, fresh off the grill.
Fresh off the grill.
So come on down to Mr. Meaty, where friends meet to eat meat. So that's probably my favorite Halloween memory. As far as traditions go, I would say every year we go over to my grandma's house, and she makes chili, and she makes what we call a snake sandwich, which is a large, like, multi-meat sandwich filled with meat, cheese, and, like, Dijon mustard. And it's made into the shape of a snake using, like, dough and stuff and watercolors, and it's made to look like you're eating a snake. And it's really fucking good. It's one of my favorite things that my grandma makes. And she makes that, and she makes chili, and we have that every year. And obviously I used to go trick-or-treating a lot up until I was, like, 16, which is arguably way too old to trick-or-treat, but whatever, fuck it. I wanted free candy. But around that time I stopped it, and I still go over to my grandma's, though, every year. And we still have the snake. And I scare the children now, the children that come to trick-or-treat. We think of creative ways to try and scare them. Kyler gets up on stilts and wears, like, this jacket with, like, arm extenders. And he usually wears a different mask. He originally built that costume for a Slender Man costume, but now he usually just wears the snowman mask when he does it. Yeah, and by the snowman mask, I mean his face, because we obviously don't want to ruin the lore.
That's my face.
That is his actual face, not his human mask.
Angela, you remember
Sure.
this?
Wait, do you want to go next, Corbin?
Angela, you remember this?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I know this great tradition I used to do.
Sure.
See this Halloween tradition. I would go with my family, and we would go house to house, and we would take candy from strangers. It was great.
Yeah, how original. I've never heard of anyone ever doing that before.
I know. I was one cool kid. Sometimes you
Like
could
your
raise
card
your
game?
brother too, but it was good.
No.
I just got the Mr. Meaty song stuck in my head.
No.
Mr. Meaty is a creepy looking show.
Will you stop it with the fucking
Anyway.
can of air?
No.
What's going on?
Don't worry about it. Alright,
Forget about it.
anyway, go ahead, Anthony.
Well, okay. So, just to let everybody know, out there, is that my favorite holiday of all time is Halloween. And the reason why Halloween is my all-time favorite is because all the time, I never tell you about this, but I always have dreams about going, like, hanging out on Halloween. Always, all the time. It's like, out of every holiday that I've ever had dreams about, Halloween has always been my favorite. But
I think those are.
I've been dressing up in costume for, always. I still dress up. So, anyway, the first time I ever dressed up, I was a bee for Halloween that my mom got. A costume that my mom got for me.
I made it.
It was actually she made it, but I went to trick-or-treating every year. It's always been really fun, and I was Luigi for Halloween, and my friend was Mega Man, and we hung out house to house, and then after that we went to Denny's to eat. It was like so fun. Oh yeah, I went to. Have you ever heard of this convention called Kamikaze?
I think so.
Halloween 2015. I happened to be at a convention that year.
Okay.
It was a convention called Kamikaze. It's now called Anime Los Angeles, or Comic-Con Los Angeles, and it was really fun. We got to talk. I got to meet a lot of some famous-ish people. I've seen some people in person. I was Mario. And I went with my friends. I also saw a couple of celebrities in person. I didn't meet them, but I did see him. I didn't meet him, but I saw Stan Lee from one of the biggest names in comics. I saw him in person. I also saw Elvira.
Oh yeah, Stanley. That's the guy who made DC, right?
Oh yeah, that's the one.
Oh yeah, that's
He
him.
made DC. And Image Comics.
Elvira.
That's
Isn't
right.
Elvira just a nice way of saying less popular vampire? Vampire. It's Elvira's a nice way of saying Vampira ripoff.
Isn't Vampira the ripoff of Elvira? Like, I can't tell if that's a joke or if you're serious.
Vampira came out way before Elvira. Vampire is old.
Really?
Yeah, you're right. Vampira came out was around during the 50s.
You know, one of my...
I prefer.
Okay, this will tie back to what we were talking about, but you know one of my coworkers is friends with the guy who plays Mr. Satan in the Dragon Ball dub?
No freaking way.
Yeah, and apparently...
Really?
Yeah, and apparently talking to the guy who played Mr. Satan, apparently the guy who played Mr. Satan used to get drunk with Elvira all the time.
I believe it. That is like so interesting. That's so cool. Cassandra Peterson. I think that's where. Cassandra Peterson? Let me see.
I don't know. Probably. I don't know the name of the guy who plays Mr. Satan either. I just know that's who he is. And that I know that one of my coworkers was telling me how he's pretty good friends with him.
This guy named Chris Rager.
Yeah, that's the guy.
Chris Rager.
That's the guy.
Chris Rager. Yeah. This guy seems like a interesting person.
Yeah, from what my coworker was telling me, he's really cool. Apparently he like prank calls people and does the voices for like Borderlands, and because he does a character voice in Borderlands as well.
Also, GameStop does not have any other Telltale. My GameStop doesn't have any other Telltale games except for Walking Dead.
Anyway,
Interesting.
if I can steer the conversation back in the correct direction, a couple other things I just thought of that I was going to bring up is a couple of times the last couple of years, we've usually gone up and gone somewhere that's supposed to be haunted and just kind of gone out in the woods and done stuff like that. We're planning on doing that again this year. That'll be fun. Yeah, Danny has a place in mind. Are you watching Mr. Meaty, Kyler? Kyler's watching Mr. Meaty.
I mean, why wouldn't? I feel like everyone should be watching that movie.
It's the Halloween one, too?
That was a good show.
It's Nightmare on Joss Street.
I think that's the one, yeah. But
The characters in that the characters in Mr. Meaty just look absolutely disgusting.
oh yeah, they
The
do.
show is terrible.
I love that show, dude.
Anyway,
But yeah, anyway, another thing. I do like to watch a lot of horror movies around Halloween, too, obviously. That's kind of a common thing.
even bad horror movies.
Of course. Just horror movies in general. Good, bad, so bad it's good, whatever. I'm planning on watching Blackula sometime this month before Halloween, but I haven't yet.
When you say Blackula, it makes me think of the Dracula from Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy.
I think...
I like that one character that was a combination of the guy from Escape from L.A. and Ash from Evil Dead.
Oh, Haas Delgado?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't he have his own? Didn't he have his own movie?
House Delgado?
He was one of the
Yeah,
main parts of Underfist, if that's what you mean. But he wasn't, like, the only character. If anything, Irwin was the main character of that.
There was,
Irwin? Who cares about Irwin?
Carney show.
Yeah. Wait,
What about Evil Con Carne?
That's probably the one he's thinking of, someone who had their own...
Evil Con Carne.
No, he knows about Evil Con Carne, dude.
anyway, ironically, Underfist was, like, also took place during Halloween
Yeah, it did.
at the beginning, if I'm correct.
No, it was all during
and
Halloween.
That was the last episode of Billy and Mandy.
Yep.
Because,
Underfist Halloween Bash is actually the full title. Underfist itself was originally going to be like a full spin-off, but it got canceled,
Yeah.
so only one episode was made.
But yeah, the creator left Cartoon Network. He didn't like the direction it was going because at the time they were doing CN Real, so that's why he left.
I like how Voltaire did 2 or 3 songs for Billy and Mandy.
The only one I really know is Brains.
I know he also did this song called Land of the Dead. Something, something, blah, blah, blah.
He's a really creative guy.
Voltaire?
Yeah.
Billy and Mandy.
What else?
Remember that? Do you guys remember that?
Remember
on the
what? Go ahead.
Before we continue talking about Halloween, do you guys remember this one episode? You probably do. The ending where it was like a rock-off contest, and like Grim had this band, and then
Billy's dad as well, yeah.
Yeah, there's a song in that episode called it was by a band called SPF 1000. It's called Darkness, and it's like one of the greatest songs ever.
Yeah? I don't remember.
You probably heard it before.
Oh, I'm sure I have, because I've seen every episode, but...
Yeah, it's good. But anyway, back to Halloween. Another good memory of Halloween also. Actually, technically, if I'm also correct, in 2015 Halloween, I was hanging out with some friends at school as well, so... Because at the time I was a senior in high school, so... What else do I remember? I also remember going to my friend's house. I was the Grim Reaper, which is a pretty shitty Grim Reaper costume looking back. It was me with a cloak and white face paint and a scythe.
I've had 2 Grim Reaper costumes and 2 Jason Voorhees costumes.
You know, another thing I want to talk about from when I was a kid, my dad used to make his own costumes, and one time he, like, hollowed out this barrel, and, like, got, like, this piece of, like, tubing, and made himself, like, a Diet Coke can with a straw coming out of it that was really cool that he wore. And, like, there was another year that he made what he called the blue screen of death. He, like, hollowed out a computer monitor, and, like, put, like, a blue screen on it, and, like, cut eye holes in it, right? But then he put on, like, a cloak, like a Grim Reaper cloak, and carried around a fucking scythe, like an actual scythe.
My dad had a cool costume idea, because, you know how he has one leg? Well, he's gonna... he said one of these Halloweens he's gonna be a pirate. He's gonna have a peg leg.
Is he gonna be Rottenbeard?
Makes sense. Right. Right.
Rottenbeard,
My
do what
dad-
you want, because a pirate is free. You are a pirate.
Yar har fiddly dee. There is
Being
no
a pirate
pirate as
is
great
alright to
as he.
be. Do what you want, because a pirate is free. You are a pirate. I can do the whole song, but I'm not going to.
Yeah. We still miss you, Robbie Rotten. Rest in peace. It also, okay, funny story. 2009, I was 11 years old. At the time, I was really into Black Sabbath and Ozzy Osbourne. And so I dressed up as Ozzy Osbourne for Halloween of 2009 when I was 11, and it kind of backfired in a way, because my Ozzy costume kind of looked like Michael Jackson.
It's ironic you mentioned that, because I actually dressed as Michael Jackson one year, but I actually ended up looking more like Slash from Guns N' Roses.
How old were you when this happened?
What, when I dressed as Michael Jackson?
Yeah.
I don't know, it was like 2009 or 10. I was probably like 16 or 15. It was like not that long after he died, so...
For Halloween of 2005, I was Spider-Man. And my brother was my elephant, because I was an elephant in 2001, I think? And he had my costume.
So he was
But it was right when Spider-Man 2, around the time when Spider-Man 2 came out. Halloween 2006 was kind of interesting because I was a, what was I? Oh, I was Darth Vader for Halloween in 2006, and my brother was Yoda. Funny you say you were Michael Jackson, because I think I told you that I'm going to be Michael Jackson this year.
Are you?
So,
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Out of the Halloween movies, what's your guys' favorite one of them?
Mine's the third one.
Fuck you, no it isn't. That one's fucking awful, don't even.
I have
You
a
what?
confession to make. I've never seen Halloween.
Any of them?
Any of them. Nope.
My
So
favorite
what's
is the
your
Rob Zombie remake.
Halloween?
The first one. The second Rob Zombie one sucked, but the first one was awesome.
How could
I
you
like
say something so controversial yet so brave?
I've said it multiple times on the channel before. If you look back at my old random thoughts, there's an episode called Remakes Better Than the Original, and that's one of the ones I mentioned.
I really, really, really love the first half of the Halloween Rob Zombie movie, but I really, really hate the second half.
I can see why. The first half is definitely better than the second half, but for me, I'd say out of the original series, my favorite is Halloween 4: The Return of Michael Myers.
I hate the idea of somebody who's just born evil. I don't know. I feel like that's a dumb idea.
Well, and that's why I like the Rob Zombie one, is he had a little bit more of a backstory to him.
Yeah. Well, but although I do find the idea of somebody who's just naturally evil scary in a way, but I find it unrealistic.
Are you excited for the new Halloween?
Oh yeah, definitely.
I don't know. I'm not exactly excited for it because I don't know. With Halloween, you never know if it's going to be good or bad. Halloween's like one of those series where you get some good ones, you get some bad ones.
I think I have a little bit of hope for this one because John Carpenter, yeah, he's producing this one, or co-producing it. And they got Jamie Lee Curtis back after, a long time. So
I mean, she was in Halloween 8 as well.
very true. Oh yeah, okay, so not too long.
Yeah, she was in Halloween H2O was the 8th one.
Have you
I
seen
honestly
that?
don't know why.
Yeah, I've seen all of them.
Not to be off topic, but I really need to know why you don't like the third Halloween.
It's not even so bad it's good, it's just boring. Like, it has, like, laughably bad moments, but for the most part, it's just bad. It's dull.
I disagree.
Too early to Halloween, 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 too early to Halloween, Silver Shamrock.
I like that part. That's the whole movie.
So, for context, Halloween 3 has nothing to do with Michael Myers. It has these robots practicing witchcraft to make these masks that make it so that little kids will die if they wear them while watching their magic commercial.
Yeah, and that's an awesome idea.
No, it's fucking retarded.
In an awesome way.
No, it's just bad. Like, it's not even so bad. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I had a few laughs out of it and I enjoyed it for, like, a couple of moments, but I have a little bit higher taste even when it comes to So Bad It's Good. For me, the best So Bad It's Good movie is Howard the Duck.
Howard the Duck?
Yeah, fucking love Howard the
I don't
Duck.
even think it's so bad it's good, but I'd say that's good.
Howard the Cuck.
Did you say Howard the Cuck?
Yeah. So, yeah, don't call it. If it has nothing to do with Michael Myers, then why the hell do you call it Halloween in the first place?
Well, because they were going to turn the series into an anthology series if that one did well. The fourth one was originally going to be about a ghost story. But with how bad the third one is, they scrapped that idea and brought Michael Myers back.
Which is a dumb idea in my opinion, because I hate all the Halloween movies after the third one.
I don't. I think Halloween 4 is the best of the original series. I honestly don't like 2 that much because 2 is too slow and drags. Halloween 1 is pretty good, but the remake did it better. And then Halloween 4 is fantastic. I love Halloween 4.
I like Halloween 1, 2, 3, and I like first the Halloween remake, which is...
But the second Rob Zombie one is by far the worst one. The one where, like, he doesn't even wear the mask most of the movie, and he's, like, portrayed as, like, a little kid a couple of times. It's fucking dumb. Don't watch the second Rob Zombie one.
What do you think of Halloween Resurrection?
I like it. I like Halloween Resurrection. I don't mind it.
What about Halloween: The Curse of Michael Myers? Did you like that one?
I did, even though that one's considered to be the worst one by a lot of people. I didn't mind it. In fact, that was the first one I saw.
The two Halloween movies I dislike most are The Curse of Michael Myers and Rob Zombie Halloween 2.
Rob Zombie Halloween 2 is awful. I'll give you that. That one's fucking awful.
Have you ever seen Halloween 5? What do you think of that one?
Yeah, like I said,
I
I've
know
seen...
you've seen it, but what do you think of Halloween 5?
That one was the first one to do his backstory, so I liked that one too. That was the one that had, like...
Halloween 5?
It kind of ends with, like, a whole next generation thing where this girl's, like, being set up to be the next Michael Myers. It doesn't actually go anywhere because Halloween 6, they were just like, fuck it, and didn't bring her up again, but...
That's actually exactly what Friday the 13th did as well, and remember...
Friday the 13th Part 5 had a fake Jason, yeah.
Yeah, but then at the end...
Oh yeah, Tommy Jarvis was originally set up to be like another Jason, wasn't he, at some point, but then he became a good guy?
Yeah, but they don't explain it at all.
Yeah.
I was so confused. I even mentioned that in my video I did about the series.
What's your favorite Friday the 13th movie?
My favorite?
Yeah, since I'm 100% sure Anthony's never seen it.
That's actually something I have to think of. Maybe... Oh my god, I'm gonna get a lot of crap for this, but Jason X.
I love Jason X, dude. Jason X is fantastic.
That's a good movie. I don't know, I like that idea.
I think for me, my favorite, this is also probably a little controversial, my favorite Friday the 13th is Freddy vs. Jason.
I used to love that movie, but I watched it so many times that now every time I watch it, it's boring.
Freddy vs. Jason is by far my favorite Friday the 13th, because the thing is I like Freddy Krueger way more than I like Jason, so having the two face off with... And the ironic thing is I was actually rooting for Jason, even though I like Freddy better.
Oh, used TeamRedEye. You can guess what my favorite Freddy Krueger movie is, just because I know that you'll hate me for it.
Are you gonna say the fuck... are you gonna say no? Are you gonna say the second one or the remake? Because both are fucking atrocious.
The second one.
Well, that's at least better than the remake. Because the second one I do not like, but the remake I hate. The second one I just dislike. The remake I hate. I fucking hate the remake.
At least the remake didn't make Freddy Krueger.
They've only done one remake of Nightmare on Elm Street.
God makes creepy jokes.
We're not talking about Halloween anymore. We're talking about Nightmare on Elm Street.
Hopefully the new Halloween's good.
Yeah.
The reason I like the Nightmare on Elm Street 2, the reason I like that movie is because I find it actually creepy in a way.
It's not, though. Not really. Like, it's just... It has a lot of shitty dialogue, and Freddy's hardly in it. He's in, like, 1 or 2 scenes.
Yeah, and it has
I felt that it had creepy lighting, but I felt that the idea of somebody taking over your body or using you like a puppet, it's just something creepy to me. I don't know, I find that...
But to me, the thing that makes the Nightmare on Elm Street movies enjoyable is Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger. Like, if it wasn't for him, I'd have no interest in the movie, which is why I don't like the second one that much, because he's hardly in it.
Robert Englund is a legend.
Yeah, but I feel like when you don't show him a lot, like how with Jaws, where they barely ever show Jaws.
Yeah, that was done well. I like the way it was done in Jaws. And for instance, in Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal Lecter is only in 6 minutes of the movie, but he's still the best part.
I like the Buffalo Bill dance.
Oh, the tuck dance? Goodbye, horses?
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody's seen that, I think.
You ever seen Silence of the Lambs, Anthony? Or I assume probably not, but...
Parts of them on TV.
Silence of the Lambs is by far the best Hannibal movie. I'd say the worst Hannibal movie that I've seen is probably Manhunter, because I'm not gonna lie, it's just a bias that I think Anthony Hopkins is the perfect Hannibal, and I think that Red Dragon did it better just because they had him in it. And if you don't know, Red Dragon is actually a remake of Manhunter, and Red Dragon is way better.
Wait, Manhunter, is that the original Hannibal movie, like the first of them?
Yeah, it was the first ever one, and it didn't have the same Hannibal in it. It had Brian Cox as Hannibal Lecter.
I wanted to watch that movie because, like, nobody ever talks about it.
Oh, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's just out of the Hannibal movies I've seen, it's my least favorite. Yeah, the first book was called Red Dragon, and Red Dragon is what they based Manhunter off of, and then later they did a remake that was also called Red Dragon, so it was more accurate to the name at least. But the two movies play out almost exactly the same, honestly. Like, there's no point in watching both. They're almost the same thing, just with different actors.
I'll have to check that out. But,
also, there was a Hannibal TV series.
I was about to mention that. Have you seen that?
So the first 2 seasons of the Hannibal TV series are fantastic, despite some of the homoerotic undertones. Other than that, it's pretty good. It's just season 3 is terrible. And there is, like I said, there is some weird homoeroticism where they make it seem like Hannibal and Will are gay, and they're not, and I hate it that they try to kind of make people think that, kinda. It's really weird.
Hey, I have a question. Which of these killers do you like the most? Hannibal Lecter, Norman Bates, and I'm also gonna count Alex DeLarge, even though.
I mean, if you're counting Alex DeLarge, that's like a completely different genre.
Yeah, I know. But
Norman Bates. Norman Bates, by far.
Norman Bates. Yeah, I agree.
No, Norman Bates is a sympathetic character. Like, he's not really evil. He just has a split personality that he has no control over. Because Norman Bates is the main character of Psycho.
Yeah, I know. I've seen Psycho.
Have you seen the sequels?
No.
Oh, because Norman Bates is the villain of Psycho, but he's actually the protagonist of Psychos 2 through 4. Okay. And he's not even really evil in that movie. He's just mentally ill.
That's true.
I definitely recommend watching Psychos 2, 3, and 4, though. They're fantastic.
All right.
There's if you want them, buy the triple pack that has 2, 3, and 4 in one set, because that's the only way to get 4 on DVD. And then,
it's also on Blu-ray. I'll tell you about Blu-ray.
What's on Blu-ray?
Shout Factory released it.
They released Psycho 4?
4 on Blu-ray.
Just
yeah.
Psycho 4 by itself, really? When did they do that?
Oh, 2016.
Fuck yeah, I need to get this.
Name your 3.
Yeah, I need to get this Blu-ray because Psycho 4 is my favorite of the sequels. But I would recommend getting 2 and 3 as well because they're also really good.
Okay, cool. I'll check it out.
And as far as, like, there's also a really terrible Psycho movie called Bates Motel from 1987. And it's shit. It is awful.
Bates Motel.
Yeah, the movie, not the show.
Show's awful too.
The show...
Yeah, the TV. Oh, with Bud Cort? Yeah.
And the show was fantastic for the first 3 seasons, the Bates Motel show. But then the seasons 4 and 5 were terrible.
I like to watch. I like to think that Bates Motel ended at the 4th season, but the season never happened, and that's just when the movie starts.
That's one way to do it, except for Norman had no siblings in the movies.
But I mean, like, just like if you're ignoring the sequels.
Yeah, but I don't like to ignore the sequels because I love Psychos 2, 3, and 4.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, I consider. The way I like to think of it is Bates Motel, while ending at the 4th season, that's when Psycho starts. But then there's an alternate reality where Bates Motel never happened, and then Psycho.
See, that doesn't really work though, because Psycho was made in 1960, and Bates Motel takes place in current times.
Psycho doesn't really ever say the time it takes place in.
Well, yeah, I know. That's why the 1998 remake was exactly the same movie, but with, like, just being refilmed with different actors.
But that's why I like Bates Motel is like they make it look like sort of 60s in a way, even though it is modern time.
No, I said, I love the first 3 seasons. Like the finale to the 3rd season is my all-time favorite episode of Bates Motel. But after that, it just sucked.
Oh, why do you not like season 4 and 5?
All right, well, this is where things get spoilery, but here's why. Season 3 is fantastic. It ends with him, like, killing this girl that he was in love with. They were going to run away together, but he kills her. And that to me is, like, the most Norman Bates thing ever, because in my eyes, Norman Bates' story has always been a tragedy at its core. He always kills everyone he loves. That's kind of how it's always been. So, season 4, he's in, like, a mental institution for, like, the entire season, and, like, nothing happens with Norman, and it focuses on nothing but side characters. And then season 5 is basically a remake of Psycho, but with, like, several horrible changes that fuck up many of the characters. Like, they bring Sam Loomis into it. If you don't know, Sam Loomis was Marion's boyfriend in the movie. The one who...
Oh.
In the movie... So in the movie, it's implied that Sam Loomis is married, and that both him and Marion are aware of that, and they feel guilty about it, but at the same time they're in love. And, like, they're flawed characters, that's the point. But in the show, Sam Loomis is still married, yeah, but Marion doesn't know about it, and they make it seem like, oh, he's taking advantage of these poor women, he's an evil man, look at it. It's like, no, fuck you, that is not how Sam Loomis is. Both of them are supposed to be flawed, both of them are supposed to be in the wrong. And then, on top of that, as it's going on, like, there's, you know the shower scene, right? From Psycho, obviously.
Yeah.
They changed it. They changed it entirely. So what's happening is Marion's taking the shower, she gets out and she's like, fuck this, and she leaves. And she survives, she's fine. Norman basically tells her to take the money and run. But then, at the end of Psycho, and then Sam Loomis stops by the motel and takes a shower, and then Norman kills him in the shower instead of Marion Crane. I'm like, no, fuck you, that is dumb.
Okay, that's so fucking retarded.
And then the thing that pisses me off the most is that it ends with Norman being, like, the series ends with Norman dying. And the thing is that's what I really hate about it, is Norman dies, but, like, Psycho 4 is such a better ending because not only does Norman survive, but he also gets cured of his insanity. I mean, that's a spoiler for Psycho 4 there, and I apologize for that, but it's relevant to why I hate the fucking ending of the show so much, because Psycho 4 just did it way better.
Okay.
Because Psycho 4, he gets a happy ending, he's free of mother's influence, and he has a family.
I actually kind of like, I hated everything in the final season except for the ending.
Well, the thing is I thought the ending was done well. Like, I thought the fact that it was his brother that killed him fit the best, because I was like, okay, that makes sense. He was the one who did it, and it was sad. It was a tragedy. But, and again, that's kind of the most Norman Bates thing ever when it comes to that, but it's like, I liked him getting the happy ending because I was rooting for him the whole time throughout both the series and the movies.
Okay.
I will tell you this, though. The show is nowhere near as bad as the original novels.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so
How bad were the novels?
So Psycho 1, the novel, is all right because it's very similar to the movie. But the original novel, there's a few key differences. Like, for instance, in the novel, Norman is a fat, balding guy with glasses in his mid-40s, and he also worships Satan.
Okay.
And he's also an alcoholic. It's really fucking weird. And then on top of that, so the otherwise it's very similar. Like, other than the difference in his age, appearance, and personality, it's pretty much the same. But then Psycho 2, the book is just fucking terrible because they don't. The reason I like the Psycho season so much is they set Norman up as a sympathetic character. But Psycho 2, the book, basically is like a meta book where Norman Bates is in the asylum and he finds out that someone has made a movie about his life, being the first Psycho movie, and he gets pissed off. And so he goes and he kills a nun who was at the institution and takes her clothes to sneak himself out of there. And then he goes on like this killing spree trying to take out all the people responsible for the movie. And then Psycho 3, the book, which is called Psycho House, is even dumber because Norman Bates dies at the end of Psycho 2, the book. And in Psycho 3, the book, his house has been turned into like a haunted house attraction. And he starts like haunting it and possessing animatronics and shit, and it's really dumb.
That's real.
Yeah,
that's
it sounds exactly like the movies.
Well, to be fair, the books came first.
Yeah.
I think the movies had the right idea to try to make Norman sympathetic.
Yeah, exactly, and the show did that too, but then, like, my other problem with the later seasons of the show is they don't even focus on Norman anymore at all.
Also, Norman, like, as a character by himself, actually, like, it stops being sympathetic in Bates Motel, I feel. Because I feel that Norman actually does become, like, a jerk. And he really is, like, a creepy killer kind of character.
Yeah, like,
Even
well...
though it's supposed to be his mom that's the killer.
So you know what the biggest fuck you I felt to the fan was in the series too? Norman finds out that his mother isn't real, and yet he still has that personality. I'm like, no, the whole reason that his mother personality exists is because he can't accept the fact that she's dead. But he accepts the fact that she's dead, and that personality still exists in the show, and I'm like, no, fuck you, that's retarded.
Yeah, but the mother personality is what makes him happy.
Well, and, like, the mother personality in the show is different. Like, there's this part in Season 5 that really pissed me off where he gets drunk at a bar and has sex with this gay guy. And I'm like, no, the mother personality has nothing to do with sex. It's all about jealousy and wanting to stop Norman from having sex or anything like that. She wouldn't just go fuck some guy. It's not a sexual personality. It's a very jealous, manipulative personality. It has nothing to do with sex.
I mean, in the movies, didn't Norma... well, not Norma, because she wasn't called that in the movies.
Yes, she was.
But Norman's mother...
She was called Norma in the movies.
Was?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember her being called that.
She doesn't have a name in the first movie, but in all of the sequels, she's called Norma. Whereas, except for the Bates Motel movie. In the Bates Motel movie, her name is Gloria. But in all of the normal sequels, her name is Norma.
But, what was I saying? Oh yeah, but in the movies, didn't, Norma molest Norman as a child?
No, she didn't molest him. Actually, quite the opposite. They were like wrestling or something, and he got like a boner or something, and she got mad at him and threatened to cut his dick off and dressed him up like a girl or something like that, and that like fucked with his head.
Oh.
Okay.
And that's another thing too, is I like the bitchy movie version of Norma better than the sympathetic, just kind of slightly clingy TV version of Norma.
My favorites, I really love Psycho 2. That's a great movie.
I do too, but I think Psycho 4 is a little bit better.
But in Psycho 2, I like the girl character. I don't remember her name, but I really like that girl character.
I believe her name, Lila Loomis.
I thought she was interesting.
Oh, no, not Lila Loomis. Lila Loomis is her mom. What the fuck is her name? She calls herself Marie Samuels, but she has a different real name. It's something Loomis. It might be like
Lila Loomis.
That's
Loomis.
That's not the one though. The Lila Loomis was the sister from the first movie and the mother in the second movie, I think.
But I thought she was really sympathetic in the movie until the end. In the end, she came a jerk.
Mary Loomis, that was it. Mary Loomis.
Have you guys ever played this game? Friday the 13th, the game?
No, but Trevor has.
I'd rather play Dead by
I think I played it a little bit, and it's all right for what it is, but I don't personally ever want to buy it, because as a personal principle, I never buy online-only games.
I'd rather play Dead by Daylight.
I disagree. I think that they're pretty much the same thing, and I think that having Jason Voorhees... Well, then again, doesn't Dead by Daylight have, like, Freddy Krueger or something in it? Yeah, okay, yeah, never mind.
Yeah, and the thing is, with Dead by Daylight, is there's all the different types of killers. You're not stuck to just fighting just Jason Voorhees in one map. There's not enough variation in
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Although I do like how Friday the 13th, the game, not only has the NES like design of Jason as a playable costume, but whenever someone plays as that version of Jason, it has the fucking soundtrack from the NES game too.
I wish, you know Funko?
Yeah.
I fucking hate Funko.
Everybody knows Funko.
Hate Funko.
What?
I like
How do you
Funko,
hate
but-
Funko for some...
Because they make stupid giant square head things that all look exactly the same and look next to nothing like the characters they're supposed to represent. Why not get a realistic looking depiction of a character? It's way cooler.
Oh, okay, I see what you mean.
No, fuck Funko. I fucking hate Funko. They are the worst fucking...
They put a lot of...
I do not get why they're so fucking popular. Fuck Funko. If you like Funko, I disown you and I banish you to an eternity of sadness.
Wow!
What about
Someone's
Final
mad.
Figures?
I don't like Funko.
What
They're
about the
fucking
Final
awful.
Figures?
I don't like super deformed versions of characters.
So
Like that's why I don't usually like Chibi. There's only been one Chibi thing I have ever liked, being Chibi-Chara Go Nagai World, and the only reason I like that is because of Go Nagai and because it was actually pretty entertaining as a self-parody. But when you like as a merchandise,
Go Nagai, I thought it was Go Nagi.
I'll fucking stab you.
Go Nagi.
Don't fucking ever bring that up again. Ugh. That's so embarrassing to look back at my older videos when I mispronounce his name all the time.
Gonagi.
I do know there's a part in the Hollywood Undead song where he says, "I know that we have never really met before, but tell me, does this rag smell like chloroform? You know that I'm the reason people lock their door, because I got nothing but time, so I'm gonna wait on the porch."
I like the song, oh man, I forget what the name of the song is, but there's the part where the little girl's singing, "I wish that I could
Oh,
fly
that's Bullet.
up the sky." Yeah, that's a good song.
What song by who?
Hollywood Undead's Bullet. I don't really like Hollywood Undead anymore. They're pretty shitty, but I used to like them a lot.
I just like that one.
They have a couple of okay songs, but like overall, I don't think they're that great.
Who's your favorite band of all time, you would say?
I don't know.
I'd
say Metallica's up there. Metallica is definitely up there. I also quite like Michael Jackson, but he's not a band, he's a solo artist. I don't know, dude, I just listen to a little of this and a little of that. I listen to Rob Zombie, I listen to, I like classic metal. That's just kind of my thing.
Right.
I don't particularly like
What do
metal.
you like?
I don't like metal that goes like this. You don't
like death? Not like death metal? Okay.
No. See, I'm okay if it has a little bit of screaming, but when it's an entire fucking song that's nothing but screaming and I can't understand what the hell they're saying, I don't get the point.
There's this death metal band I like, and I've been listening to them recently, but
I like Death
literally
Clock.
forgot their name. I forgot the name of this death metal band, but they have this entire album dedicated to Jeffrey Dahmer.
Hey, you guys, have you guys seen any of the Rob Zombie movies other than Halloween?
I've seen El Superbisto.
Have you seen House of a Thousand Corpses or Devil's Rejects?
Yes, I've seen those.
Okay, you know how Devil's Rejects is a sequel to House of a Thousand Corpses?
Yeah.
Well, they're doing a third movie in that franchise that's coming out either this year or next called 3 from Hell.
Yeah, I know.
I'm looking.
Oh yeah. Rob Zombie, he is when he's creative, he's really creative, man.
He makes some pretty fucked up movies. Like, some people think his movies are fucked up. I honestly don't see it because I'm super desensitized just because of all the fucked up shit I've seen. Like, honestly, as long as it's fictional, nothing phases me anymore. Real death, I can't handle. But, like, fictional shit, if it's fake and I know it's fake, no matter how realistic it is, it doesn't bother me.
Yeah, the only thing that really gets to you is, really, actual, gore and, actual...
Like, real-life gore. Like, fake gore, even if it's realistic, is fine. And, like one thing that does bother me, even if it is fake, is feces. Can't do it. Feces is one that's out. Gross.
Then you would hate the movie, Solo or 100 Days...
I'm still going to watch it. I'm still going to watch it.
You're still gonna watch it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, boy.
And I'm still going to watch a Serbian film. Corbin told me how it's actually really not that bad, but...
Wait, what? I wasn't paying attention for a second.
Serbian film.
Oh, we're talking...
Oh, that's a delightful movie.
No, but I was saying how you were telling me how it's not really that bad. People exaggerate it.
Yeah, they really do.
But yeah, 3 from Hell, it comes out next year. Yeah, so that'll come out.
So I'm thinking that we're going to end this fairly soon. Is there anything else you guys want to mention or talk about before we end it? Because
in my opinion, Halloween's the best time. But one more topic I'd like to ask about, if there's a favorite type of candy that you always like to get on Halloween. What's your favorite type of candy you always love to get on Halloween? For me, it's Reese's Pieces.
I like gum.
I like, I like to get, like, chocolate, like Twix, Almond Joy, Snickers, stuff like that. Reese's, like actual Reese's cups, pretty good.
Yes.
There's this one house that used to always give out full-size Snickers. That was pretty good. There's a house that actually gives out cans of soda that I'm actually just down the street from now, so... and the thing is they don't actually have someone give you the soda. They just leave out a bucket of soda with a sign that says, "Trick-or-treaters, please only take one."
Yeah, soda's my favorite candy, too.
I also really like those caramel apple lollipops. You ever had those?
Oh,
Long time ago.
The only things I'll eat, the only candy I like are lollipops, gum, and sour candy.
Don't you like chocolate?
Like what?
Don't you like chocolate?
Chocolate?
Yeah.
Very rarely.
What? What did he say? He's selling chocolate. Chocolate?
Okay. Yeah.
I remember chocolate. Sweet, sweet chocolate. I always hated it.
I always hated it.
And I think that's where we're going to end this.
Subscribe to Fiji to Red Eye.